All right, you guys, I finally did it. I finished the Raven cycle. Holy shit. Y'all, this was a lot. We're gonna talk about it. This video is gonna be a little bit more organized than I usually am, in that I'm going to do non-spoilers of the entire series first. And then I will go into like a more spoilerific book by book sort of discussion. Maybe a long video. We'll see. Strap in. If you haven't read it, please watch my non-spoiler portion, because this is such a good book, and I have so many recommendations and so many reasons why. But first, if you are new here, my name is Logan, and I am the Bi Book Boy. I am a chaotic bisexual, and I read books. I am rarely organized. Let's get into it. First of all, a loving shout out to my big and dear friend, as in my Greek big, because I was in a theater fraternity in college, guys. Big shout out to my big Jacob Schaefer. I love you so much. Thank you for introducing me to this book series. This series is one of my favorite things I've ever read. Overarching plot, just so that y'all will understand what's going on here. These 4 books follow a girl named Blue who lives in a house with her mother and her mother's 2 female friends, who I think are lesbians, but it's never actually confirmed. And these women are psychics. Blue meets a group of 4 boys, Noah, Gainsey, Ronan, and Adam. These young men are private school boys on a search for an ancient king. Shenanigans ensue. This is one of the first book series that I've read that actually adequately integrated both modern teenage YA life into high fantasy, magic, psychics, trees and shit coming alive sort of thing. My favorite characters have to be Ronan and Persephone, because Ronan is just a wonderful ball of angst that needs to be protected and has the best character arc I have read in a very long time. Persephone simply is me, were I reincarnated as a lesbian psychic. I also desperately love Gainsey. A lot of people on the internet don't like Gainsey because he can be kind of honestly privileged, but his character arc is really wonderful. I think my favorite book of the series was the second book, The Dream Thieves, because of course it follows my favorite character. It goes into Ronan's point of view, and there's just, Ronan is such a wonderfully complex character. There is so much rich storytelling in that book. What a wonderful exploration of what trauma can do to a human being. Least favorite book. I'm gonna preface this with, all of these books got 5 stars from me. All of these books got 5 stars from me. However, the lowest 5-star for me was Blue Lily Lily Blue, the 3rd book, just because the first 3 quarters are very slow moving and very sad. It's just really hard to get through. It's really hard to, I think I had an easier time reading A Little Life than I did that. And then the last like 100 or so pages just take off like a light. Take off like a light, that works. It's too early to be mixing alcohol, so I'm mixing metaphors. Also, I love Noah. I really love Noah. I love his existence. My favorite relationship over the entire thing would have to be between the 3 psychics, between Kala and Mora and Persephone. Mora is Blue's mother, and then Persephone and Kala, they call each other their sisters, but they really, you will learn later on that they really met each other while they were hitchhiking, and I just am in love with these 3 women and the way that they are there for each other and the way that they have survived so much together, and just their strength and the overall magic of their love for each other, and how that spurns into the way that they raise Blue. Also, I love the use of tarot cards in this series. Oh my god, there's so much tarot symbolism that goes into it, and as a reader of tarot cards myself, I really just I enjoy how well they used the cards and how they did indulge in. There's definitely some fictional aspects of the mysticism for sure. But I really enjoyed just all of the themes that those tarot cards added to the story and the way that it really deepened the characters. It was wonderful. That is my review. Go read it. 5 stars across the board. It's fucking perfect. I really do think this is a very good way to get back into young adult reading, and also a way to get into literature in general if you are a young adult and looking to jump into the fantasy world. It's really good. Also, lots of LGBTQ representation in this book. It makes me so happy. Let's talk book by book spoilers. The Raven Boys. So this book is a really, really well crafted first entry into a series. I really enjoy just the world building in this first book. Every time that I was reading it and had a problem with certain things, it was then answered. For instance, the first half of the book, I was sitting here going, why is Noah like never here? Noah barely chimes into a conversation at all. I always forget that he's there until he's suddenly there and he says something. And then, as if she heard my complaint, spoilers, good old Maggie, because I forget her last name, throws me a bone and says, hey, the reason why you don't know if he's there or not is because he's not always there. He is a ghost. He is dead. Have fun. And then he just becomes this beautifully used literary device, and I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I adore the relationship in this first book between Adam and Gainsey. It's two juxtaposed versions of how society can shame you based on your income level, and that Gainsey is from a very wealthy family, so much so that he doesn't realize sometimes that some of the things he says are incredibly privileged and a little bit out of place. Just the way that he travels life is not the way that everyone else travels life. And Adam, similarly, on the opposite spectrum, Adam is at the private school on scholarship. His parents are from the trailer park across the road. His dad abuses him. It is like the epitome of being opposite. Adam also hides his income level, refuses to ask for help or accept help from anyone. Allows that, honestly, to get in the way of his own relationships. However, these two take care of each other and hold each other accountable. I really enjoy the way that this book sets that up and allows it to grow. Of course, Ronan is my favorite character in this. The development of Cabeswater and its relationship to Ronan is really wonderful. I enjoy, and also just the idea of the ley line and everything. I don't know how to explain those, so just read the book. But basically, Ronan is this beautifully, wonderfully angsty teenage boy, just a wonderful soul in general, and now I want to protect him and be like, be my child, please, can I take care of you? Ronan has the ability to dream things into existence, which is, at first, I was like, how are we going to use this? And then it was used, and then I fell in love with it. When reading this book, I did kind of eye roll at the whole plot line of Blue being prophesized forever that she could not kiss her first love, otherwise said first love dies. I kind of eye rolled at that when I read this first book just because it's been used so much. I also high-key eye rolled at the love triangle that was created between Gainsey and Blue and Adam and Blue, which I guess isn't a full triangle because otherwise one of them would be lusting after each other, although some of the dialogue would insinuate. You guys, this book is so full of just queer subtext. Oh my god. Reading this book, I was sure all of the boys were actually gay for each other, and I wanted it to happen. That's as much as I'm going to say because I don't want to get super spoilerific. Anyway, next book, The Dream Thieves. This story is told mostly from the points of view of my darling, lovely child, Ronan. What to say? Firstly, The development of both Ronan's past with the deaths in his family and the knowledge that he's not the only person from his family line that can dream things into existence is wonderful. Also, the development of his dreaming abilities in this book really grew in this book, and I love the way it was used as both a narrative tool, a plot tool, and also a metaphor for his need to escape reality and possibly his addiction. On the topic of said dreaming abilities, I like that he's not the only dreamer in the world, and also that his family is not the only dreamer in the world. I really enjoyed that he met another one, and just the differences in the way that they work together and the ways that they dream. The climax, this was one of the few times I have read an Avengers superhero style fight climax, like final battle in a book that really worked. Similarly, a big... Oh, do I spoil? Okay. You guys, my other favorite thing about this book, because I'm biased, is I was right. Our little Ronan is either bisexual or gay. It's not clearly stated, but he is into men. And this entire book is one of the best, like, accepting oneself, coming out stories that I have ever read, solely because he didn't have to come out, and it's not this big like, oh my god, it's a secret I can never tell my friends. It's more just like accepting himself and learning to love himself. It's more focused in the book of being like accepting himself as a dreamer and a magical being. And the whole time I was reading the book, I was sitting here going, this is a metaphor for his sexuality. Even if it's not, I'm gonna press my own little internal monologue and agenda onto this book, because that's what I do, because I'm abrasive. And then it was confirmed textually that he was gay. I was reading this on a plane, sobbing. It was so good. This is one of my favorite coming-of-age young adult LGBTQ plus acceptance stories I have ever read. And I'm so glad that books like this are out there to inspire the youth of today, I say in my 23 years, but to inspire the young LGBTQ plus people out there today that it is okay and they can be somebody someday, and it doesn't matter what they came from or how their family feels, because a lot of people my age didn't have that when we were younger, and it's important that things like this are spread around the world, and I really enjoyed it. Also, can we talk about arguably the best scene in the entire series is Blue and Ronan. It's Blue and Ronan or Blue and Adam walk in, and they walk in to ask Kala for advice. And Kala is doing upside down aerial yoga, and I'm just like, this is the most beautiful thing I have ever seen in my life. And they have a full-on conversation with her hanging upside down, and it's gorgeous. I will say that another thing for the entire series as a whole, the use of dialogue to represent each character and just like the way that all these people talk is so wonderful. I love it. It never disappoints. It's exactly the way I speak. It makes me feel so happy. It makes me at home. The only thing that I did not like about this book is what a dick Adam becomes. It's very much a Twilight #2 sort of thing. I don't remember which phase of the moon that book is, but one of the something to do with astrology and vampires. It's very much that sort of thing where Blue is pushing herself towards Gainsey and not wanting to be involved with Adam, and also Gainsey is pushing his financial abilities to help Adam onto Adam and not really respecting his boundaries. But Adam could be more gracious about saying, hey, I have boundaries. I do need your help, but I'm a little bit too prideful to help. Instead, he kind of becomes a whiny dick, and he's really annoying, and I love him, but he's so fucking annoying. Also, the development of Noah as a ghost in this book is really good. Next, this book, Blue Lily Blue, is so sad. I love Ronan's development, his development continues to get better and better. It just makes me very happy. Also, the development of Adam and his ties to Stiefvater as well. Because Adam makes a deal to become Stiefvater's hands and eyes. Therefore, he's the magician. He, for them, is really what it is. He's one of the magicians. It's very much, the friends are set up as sort of like a Knights of the Round Table sort of thing with Gainsey at the top. It's really good. This book is mostly centered around Blue's search for Maura and her having to face the idea that her mother, while being a wonderful and loving mother, has been very unconventional and oftentimes very absent, and is currently physically absent, and no one knows if she's dead or alive. And that is really a hard thing for a young person to go through, and it's hard to read. I do love the way that Kala steps up and takes care of her, though. Also, Gwenllian is brought to in this book. Glendower, who is the king that they're searching to resurrect, because he will give he gives a gift, and basically they're trying to save Gainsey's life, is really the favor that Glendower gives if you resurrect him. Gwenllian is his daughter, and they accidentally resurrect her. And I really enjoy her. I like that they have a character in here who is both riddling and insane enough to just be like, y'all are being stupid. Y'all are being stupid. Y'all need to get your shit together. Let's get it together, guys. Colin Greenmantle was not a threatening villain to me, and frankly very boring. However, that is fixed in the end, and that the spoiler alert, it's not him that we need to be afraid of, it's his wife, Piper Greenmantle, and I really enjoyed that bait and switch. It was really fun to read a female-led series with also a female villain. I really enjoyed that. It made me happy. There's a lot of magic scenes in this book, and I really enjoyed the development of those. The scenes in the cave with the army of corpses was or skeletons, same thing, was incredible. I enjoyed Gainsey's ability to command things to life being developed. That was really cool. Basically what I'm saying is the last 100 pages are really good. I also enjoy the development of Adam and Persephone's relationship as she is training him to hone his psychic abilities. She's also even teaching him how to read tarot cards, and I really enjoy that. But overall, this book is just so sad. The most I cried, I think, in this book would be when Persephone dies. That was one of the most beautifully written death scenes I've ever read in a book. I felt it personally because, as I have said before, I literally am. I've never identified so much with a character than Persephone. Oh, the reveal of Blue's father was Artemis was kind of crazy. It was kind of abrupt, but it worked. It worked. The return of Neve at the end of this book pissed me the fuck off in the best way possible. The end of this book is a very well done cliffhanger. This book is a great segue to the next book. Oh my god, I'm not even in frame. The Raven King. The close to the series. I really liked the way that this book played with the idea of time. But in the other books, Stiefvater freezes time, and Dreaming fucks with Ronan's time, and Noah's time is fucked up because he's dead. That was a profound statement. But this book specifically, I enjoyed that every time we we introduced a new character, it was depending upon where you start the story, it was a story about. And I really enjoyed that formula. It was really cool. I don't know, some people might not like it and find it repetitive, but I enjoyed it. I love the found family aspect of this. Even Gwenllian and Artemis are now in a family unit that will take care of each other. They are a family unit that has been through shit. They're grieving two very important deaths. They are not whole, but they are able to pick up the pieces and take each other home. Piper Greenmantle, from the start, is a terrifying fucking villain. She's terrifying. The fact that she has a demon at her command scares the shit out of me. Again, Neve pissed me off. She's kind of useless in this book. Neve is kind of useless, which was honestly kind of satisfying. The conclusion of Gainsey and Blue's storyline, their love story arc, really was wonderful. I enjoy that they balance each other out. And they teach each other how to be people and how to be human beings. I really enjoy the way that the Kiss of Death storyline was used in the climax of this book. It was a very smart climax. This book has a very smart climax, and it's a very smart ending to the series. I enjoyed that, because the whole time I was kind of wondering, what are we gonna do? How is this gonna end? Like, I'm fully along for the ride, but I don't know how you're going to end it. And it was not at all what I expected, and very well done. Won't say how it's used because it's very sad and I cried, and I don't want to spoil that part for you. I love the character Opal. She's a recurring character in Ronan's dreams. And when the demon starts ripping apart Ronan's dream world and trying to kill him from the inside of his power source, Ronan rescues her and brings her to the real world, and that is one of the, it makes me so emotional, because Ronan is such a protective character and a wonderful character, and I just love him. We're on the subject of my boy, of my little donut. I love the way that Adam and Ronan, their love story, those two, it just makes sense. Adam and Ronan have been protecting each other since the beginning, and have been fighting for each other and taking care of each other and watching out for each other since the beginning. And all of my shipping from my little gay heart was brought to light and made better. It was so good. When Ronan and Adam have their first kiss, I cried. This was wonderful. Again, wonderful LGBTQ plus representation. And it was so well developed that when the demon turns their abilities against each other and basically makes them each other's undoing, I was crying even harder. Their part in the climax is incredible as well, and makes me very happy. I would argue that Ronan and Blue could both be pitted as the protagonists for this series, as both of them have significant character development and both of them play heavily into the ending. The back of the book says it's Gainsey. I don't buy that for a second. Maura and Mr. Gray are really well created. I love Kala in this story. I love everything that she does in this story. I did like how they brought back Persephone's memory, because they were fucking with time, so they were able to bring her back for a little bit, even though she doesn't really affect the plot because she's like a memory because she's dead. It was still very well done. I love the concept that Artemis, and thusly Blue because Artemis is her father, is like a tree creature and is one of the trees in the forest that is Cabeswater. I love that idea that they're magical beings built to create and they've been around forever. But besides that, he was kind of fucking useless. When Gwenllian was yelling at him, I was like, you go, bitch. Tell him what the fuck is what. This is annoying. I'm not gonna do anything else because I'm not gonna spoil the entire series, but this was probably my second favorite book in the whole series, would have been this one. So 2 and 4 are the best. One is really good. 3 is the worst, just because it's sad. I am one of the last people on the internet to read these books, so, or at least that's what it feels like. So comment down below. I'm sure most of you guys have read these. Let me know your thoughts and your opinions. Who's your favorite character? Who do you hate? Who is your favorite villain? Because there are multiple different villains in this. How do you feel about the LGBTQ plus representation in this book, or in these books? Because I loved it. I thought it was one of the few times that it didn't feel like tokenism in YA. I enjoyed it. That's all I got for you this week. Thanks for sticking around and helping out if you made it to the end. And if you want more semi-regular chaotic bisexual content, subscribe, like, ring the notification bell so you can get my videos whenever I decide to post them. And yeah, this has been the Bi Book Boy, and I'm saying bye.